So, intermittent fasting. You've definitely heard of it, right? And chances are you've heard about its two biggest stars, the popular 16-8 method and its much more extreme cousin, OMAD, which stands for one meal a day. Now, they both promise pretty big results, but they are not the same thing at all, and they definitely don't work the same way for everyone. Today, we're going to get into the science of what's really going on with both.
I mean, just look at that difference. 16 hours without food versus a full 23 hours. That 7-hour gap? That's not just a little extra time. That's where everything changes. We're talking about your energy, your hormones, and yeah, your long-term results.
And that really is the million-dollar question we're tackling in this explainer. We're going to cut through all the noise and the hype and just look at the straight-up biology. By the time we're done, you'll get exactly what's happening inside your body on each of these protocols, and you'll have a much clearer idea of what might or might not be the right fit for you. Okay, so first up, let's get the absolute basics straight. With the 16-8 method, you fast for 16 hours and you have an 8-hour window to eat. Pretty simple. OMAD, on the other hand, is way more extreme. You eat just one meal a day, which means you're fasting for about 23 hours, leaving just a 1-hour window to eat. You know, when you see it laid out like this, you really get the difference in lifestyle. With 16-8, you're basically just tightening up your normal eating schedule, maybe skipping breakfast or a late dinner. But with OMAD, you're literally building your entire day around a single, usually massive meal. One is a moderate kind of cyclical approach, and the other is this really intense all-or-nothing swing. Now, to really get the difference between these two, there's one crucial biological concept you have to understand. It's called the metabolic switch. And honestly, it's the engine that makes this whole thing run. Okay, so here's the big idea. Your body has two main fuel tanks. The primary one runs on glucose, the sugar you get from food. But when that tank starts running low, your body doesn't just stop. No, it's smarter than that. It flips a switch and starts using its backup generator, your stored body fat. That transition from burning sugar to burning fat, that is the metabolic switch. And the process itself is surprisingly straightforward. See, when you eat, the hormone insulin is high, and your body is basically in storage mode. But then you stop eating, and your insulin levels start to fall. After about 10 to 14 hours, the glucose stored in your liver starts to get used up. And that's the trigger. Your body basically says, all right, time for plan B, and it starts turning fat into this incredible alternative fuel called ketones. So let's actually put this whole process on a clock, because understanding when all these changes happen is the key to seeing why a 16-hour fast and a 23-hour fast can give you such wildly different results. Just look at this timeline. For the first few hours after you eat, you're just running on that meal. But here's the magic window. Somewhere between 10 and 14 hours, that metabolic switch happens. So if you're doing 16-8, you open your eating window right at hour 16. That means you've spent a solid 2 to 6 hours in that fat-burning, ketone-making state. Pretty good. But with OMAD, you blow right past that, staying deep in that fat-burning mode for many more hours. Okay, now that we've got the science down, let's get to the main event. It's time for the practical showdown, a head-to-head comparison of the real-world pros and cons of each method. This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? The biggest win for 16-8 is that it's sustainable. People can actually stick with it. It helps your body handle sugar better, helps you hang on to muscle. But yeah, the results might be a bit milder. On the other side, OMAD gives you way more time in that deep fat-burning state, and for some, it just simplifies life. But look at those weaknesses. It's really hard to stick with. It's a huge challenge to get all your nutrients in one meal, and it causes this massive insulin spike when you finally do. And this stat right here, it's so revealing. Studies show that a huge majority of people can stick to 16-8 long-term. But when you look at more extreme methods like OMAD, the dropout rates can be as high as 65%. It just proves a really simple truth. It doesn't matter how perfect a plan is if you can't actually do it. Okay, now this is a fascinating little side benefit that applies to both methods, but it's even more intense with longer fasts. Dr. Mark Mattson, a neuroscientist, discovered that ketones aren't just fuel. They actually act like little messengers, telling your brain to produce more of a protein called BDNF. Think of it like Miracle-Gro for your brain. It literally helps your brain cells grow and build new connections. That's why so many people report feeling incredibly sharp and focused when they're fasting. It's not just in your head, it's actual biology at work. But here's where it gets really weird with OMAD. You'd think fasting for 23 hours would give you rock-solid blood sugar, right? Well, research shows the exact opposite can happen. See, when you cram an entire day's worth of calories into one meal, your body can totally freak out and release this tidal wave of insulin to deal with it. And that massive surge can lead to a rebound effect, causing your fasting blood sugar the next morning to actually be higher than normal. Kind of defeats the purpose, right?
So, after all that science, all the pros and cons, the question becomes a lot more personal. It's not about which method is better on paper, but about which one, if any, is a better fit for your life, your body, and what you're trying to achieve.
So you can kind of think of it like this. 16-8 is a fantastic starting point. It's great for beginners, for people who want a sustainable, long-term strategy that still lets them have a social life. OMAD, on the other hand, is more of an advanced tool. It's for experienced fasters, maybe someone with a crazy busy schedule, or someone looking for a short-term boost, and ideally with some kind of medical supervision. It really demands a healthy digestive system and stable blood sugar to begin with. And this part is absolutely crucial. OMAD is not for everyone. Because it's so extreme, it should be avoided by anyone with a history of eating disorders, women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, people with medical conditions like type 1 diabetes, and definitely not for kids or teens. Seriously, this is not something you just jump into without thinking it through very, very carefully.
All right, so we've looked at the science, the pros, the cons, the big warnings. What's the bottom line? What's the final takeaway from all this?
It really all comes down to this one simple fact. There is no magic bullet. 16-8 gives you that consistent, daily dip into the metabolic switch, and it's something most people can actually stick with. OMAD pushes you way deeper into that state, but it comes with some serious baggage. The nutrition challenge, the high dropout rate, and those crazy insulin spikes. And this, right here, is probably the most important message of all. The best method isn't the most extreme one. It's the one you can do consistently, the one that makes you feel good. If your fasting plan leaves you feeling tired and irritable all the time, or constantly thinking about food, it's just not the right tool for you, no matter what a study might say. You have to listen to your own body. Which kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. It is so easy to get dogmatic about this stuff, to believe that one way is the only way. But the science shows both of these methods have their place. The goal should be to see fasting not as some rigid religion you have to follow perfectly, but as a flexible tool in your health toolbox, a tool that's supposed to serve you, not the other way around.